It's Keep It in the Ring live this Thursday, April 4, 2024, with Rich Mancuso on my YouTube tape, Rich Mancuso, and the AGT Network. Subscribe, like, and comment as always. And also, we're live, of course, on the AGT Network with my great producer, Carl Roberts. Well, we have an hour or more of stocked information that you might already know and not know. And a lot of the recaps and analysis of the big fight week that happened. And of course, the pro wrestling talk coming up. Lots of that. It's WrestleMania time this weekend in Philadelphia. We're going to break down the matches and give our predictions. And also, Jason Knight, we expect him, former ECW superstar who knows about WWE in Hall of Fame inductee Paul Heyman real well. We worked with him, ECW. Hope to have him on a little later on in the program. He's traveling to Philadelphia right now. We do expect him, though. We might go an hour or more tonight because we're stocked, as I said. My social media handles at the bottom of the screen, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, X, formerly Twitter, Ring786, and, of course, other social media platforms, and read me on NewYorkSportsDay.com. Many heard me with Ricky Ricardo on WIP Philadelphia Radio, Sports Radio, this past weekend. I'll be on with him again Sunday night after WrestleMania concludes their second night. So tune into that. Probably around 1 a.m. that goes slash into Monday morning. And the fights that are upcoming of significance, including this weekend, scrolled at the bottom of your screen. Well, fans, let's get to it. And you know what I'm going to talk about first. PBC Amazon Prime debut with their first show and pay-per-view. And if you read my social media postings and you saw it, you know it was a rabid success. Title fights, titles changing hands, and then this one, the main event, that was switched because Keith Thurman has sustained an injury to his bicep, could not make it. In stepped Sebastian Fundora for vacant titles at 154. Let's take a look at one of those rounds briefly. And champion going also for a vacant title. They looked at each other. They, of course, fed each other out at the beginning, and then it got brawl and nasty for the 154-pound titles that now Fundora holds, and historic too because it's the second world champ, second time that we have had a brother-sister championship combination. His sister is the IBF flyweight champ, Gabriella. There's a bloody Sebastian Fundora, and there was more of a bloody Tszyu. Man, this was ugly. Reminiscent of Gotti Ward in their three fights in their trilogy, and those were wars and bloodbaths, as this became. Split decision, it was for Fundora, 116-112, 115-111, 116-112. Many thought that Tszyu might have got it. There were the final punch stats. In the end, it was the scorecard of one judge that was the determining factor. To one judge, Tszyu won the final round on the card, which would have made this fight a draw. Friends, I gave this to Fundora. I had him winning this fight narrowly, 115-112. And this was, as I said, a barn burner, a bloodbath. The forehead cut, the elbow changed that fight around in round two. This, no doubt, an epic fight that will go down in boxing history. Not so much because Fundora was able to get the win, but the way it just transpired. It was a bloodbath after that second round. And credit to the referee for keeping it going, because those cuts to Tszyu above the forehead from that elbow sustained, that was a nasty one. And if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. A title fight in boxing that will go down in boxing history again. Sebastian Fundora got his opportunity. Sebastian Fundora is now the 154-pound champion, of which has become now more interesting in the division. And here's why. You saw Errol Spence Jr. in the ring afterwards. And Carl, do we have an image of that, of Errol Spence going in the ring? Well, there's another image of the bloody Suzu. And you could see what I'm talking about that nasty gash. And you wondered, how could that fight continue? But Errol Spence Jr. comes in the ring and immediately says, it's now I'm the guy that should be challenging for this title. But then Terrence Crawford, he automatically on X, formerly Twitter, comes in and says, you didn't get the win. And Terrence Crawford made his point known, I'm the guy. You lost. But there's Errol Spence. And you see how towering as he is, the Inferno, Sebastian Fundora, is to Errol Spence, who hasn't fought since he lost his titles to Terrence Bud Crawford. But Terrence Crawford chimed in right away on Twitter saying, you lost the fight. Meaning he lost his fight to him, to Errol Spence. You got beat, sir. Got to work your way back. And in a way, you can't fault Crawford for sending that out. He was right. And also, the WBO agreed with that because they have declared that Crawford should be the next in line for the titles now held by Sebastian Fundora. The WBO, just a day or so ago, ordered Fundora, Crawford, and they must agree to that, the purse and all the stipulations within 20 days, and then that fight will be made. So I do expect Sebastian Fundora, the new champ at 154, to defend that title the first time against many who arguably say Terrence Bud Crawford is the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, if not in the division, as he moves up to 154. So a lot of excitement there after the Fundora win, a lot of ugliness in the win, and a historic, epic fight, as I said. Congratulations to Sebastian Fundora for pulling it off, especially become the main eventer in for Keith Thurman, like 12 days notice. And that was Amazon Prime pay-per-view, their kickoff telecast, and also a great card overall as we continue to look at that card a little bit, because we saw this. We saw Isaac Pitbull Cruz, another title change. Wally Romero, as you know, likes to run his mouth a lot. He talks a lot, yet a very talented fighter. But now Isaac Cruz pulled it off, and he did it commandingly. He dethroned Romero, the WBA Super Welterweight Championship, and here we see it. 8-round stoppage. Romero was in trouble from the first round. You had an idea where this was going. Cruz continued to pressure with the attack. Romero was deducted a point in round 5, and in round 7, Romero barely survived. So we saw this coming from the beginning, that Isaac Pitbull Cruz was something to test with here. And he had a 51-18 edge in body punches landed, 50 punch advantage in power punches landed overall. Thereuntil lies the story why Isaac Pitbull Cruz became the new champion to dethrone Wally Romero. Now, does this mean the end of Romero in the division? Well, for the moment, yes. He has to climb a step back. Does it say that Romero is not a legitimate and good champion? Question about that. He had another bad night. Does it say much about Romero's testament? Does it say much about Romero talking too much? Perhaps he talks a little too much, and many say he's not the fighter that he claims to be. Well, we could say this. Isaac Pitbull Cruz is the fighter he wanted to be. He handled Gervonta Davis 12 rounds and gave him a test about 2 years ago. Went the distance with perhaps also one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in boxing, and got his shot now at a title with Wally Romero, and he doesn't talk. Cruz does the job, and he's a power puncher, as you saw, and he can handle it at his best. He was the underdog again in this fight, slightly, but he handled Romero like Romero's never been handled before. I do expect Romero to be back. It's going to take extended time off, and so you won't hear much of him on social media for a little while. I hope we hear from him more because he's good for the sport overall, the way he talks, because he's entertaining. But as far as his boxing ability, it's there. It's not the greatest. It's average. As far as him going in the ring and giving someone a fight, he can. But this time against Isaac Pitbull Cruz, Wally Romero did not give Cruz what we could have expected because Cruz was dominant, as you saw. Congratulations to Isaac Pitbull Cruz, now a champion in the competitive 140-pound super welterweight division, and that is full with Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia, of course, Teofimo Lopez, Mateus, and so forth. It might be the most stock-powerful division in the sport. You agree with me, fans? Like, comment mostly. Subscribe to our channels, HE2 Network and Rich Mancuso here on YouTube. Like to hear your thoughts on the way that division at 140 is going. Of course, the usual Ryan Garcia talk will be coming up momentarily. It always is. And on that same Amazon Prime PBC debut card, WBA middleweight champ Arisandi Landa. He proved to he's a guy who's in like around 40 years old or nearing that, with 30 wins and 17 knockouts now. A quick stoppage of the number one contender, Michael Zafara. 40-year-old Lara, as he is. Strong left, drops about a 250 down to 59 of round two. And Lara, by the way, the oldest reigning world champion in the sport. He doesn't lose an inch to what he can do in the ring. He punches hard. He's a good technician. And yeah, I like his power. And at 40 years old, Arizandi Lana is still the WBA middleweight champ from Cuba. And WBC flyweight champion Julio Cesar Martinez. You saw it also on Amazon. Retained a 12-round, the majority decision, retained his title over number 14, previously undefeated Angelino Cordova. Martinez was dropped twice in round 3 with those hard jabs. And Martinez does have a hard jab. Scorecards, as you know, 114-112 twice, 113-113, which a draw by the judge. I got to give it 114-112. That was more like it. But Cordova won this fight throwing 274 more power punches. So close stats, but that 113-113 card, that was a deciding factor, as you know. And Sergey Bocek, 24-1, 22 knockouts, unanimous decision over Brian Mendoza, becomes the interim WBAC and super welterweight champion title holder. He dominated early. Mendoza rallied late, but was not enough. 118, 110, 117, 11 twice. 111 twice by the judges. Another champion is crowned on Amazon PBC debut Prime. So, what were your thoughts on that Amazon Prime pay-per-view? I thought I'd give it an A. I will give it an A. And their next big event comes up May 4th, Canelo Alvarez, Jaime Munguia. And that for the Mexican War, for, of course, Canelo Alvarez's unified 168-pound titles. Going to be a good one on pay-per-view. Amazon Prime again on May the 4th. Top ranked, though, the night before. And, this past weekend, I found it interesting. You had the Mexicans dominating the Australians in championship fights. And we'll go into that in a moment. But first, on that top ranked card last Friday night, you had to like the strawweight championship that Sinisa Estrada got, the 10-round unanimous decision over Vagasta Valley. Estrada power punchers got her this win. Though tough. Valley landed 16 of those in the in the 10th round. That was on ESPN Plus. If you saw it, you saw a good female division fight. Congratulations to Sinisa Estrada, top ranked. She's the strawweight champion. And again, Mexican over Australia over the weekend in boxing, because boxing has this nationality war, not a war, but a friendly war in the ring. This time Mexico prevailed because with the Fundora win of Tszyu, and Mexico Australia continued on that top ranked card because Oscar Valdez has rejuvenated himself. A 7th round TKO over Liam Wilson. Wilson was hurt in the 7th round. Valdez landed 42 with 68 power punches. Here they are, the friendly camaraderie that was shown all throughout fight week until the end. The two of them together, and Valdez giving Wilson plenty of encouragement because, as Valdez said to Wilson, I came back, so can you. Valdez now resurrects his career. We all thought maybe he wouldn't get another chance. He's coming off that decision loss to Emmanuel Navarrete back in August. But now Valdez is a 2-time champ, and he is, the vacant lightweight title, looking at that now, coming up on May 18th. Here's the thing in that division with the vacancy of that title. If Donis Bernardchik, who vacated, if he wins, he stays a lightweight champ. Valdez will be elevated, in other words, to the full-time champion at 130. This is a part of boxing politics. Titles get vacated when fighters move up in weight. And here's a case now with Oscar Valdez. He still has a chance to become the full champion of a title that he won to be in Liam Wilson. But the story here, folks, is that Oscar Valdez, who everyone thought might have been out of the picture, is back in it and has a chance to become a full-fledged champion again. Good fight that was. And I love the camaraderie when two fighters are always together from beginning to end, as we saw. All right, more keeping the ring boxing actions as we analyze some of the fights. As again, this past weekend was a hot and heavy fight weekend. Golden Boy card, former super middleweight champ Gilberto Zudo Ramirez. Well, he's back. I thought he was done. Now, Ramirez has not been that type of champion of the past 2 fights, but his comeback, he outbucks the undefeated Austrian Golemarian, who was 27-1. Judges had it 118, 110 3 times for Ramirez. He is the new WBA cruiserweight champ, a division that gets no play at all. If you could tell me the only name now that I recognize as a cruiserweight champion in boxing is that guy right there. Gilberto Zudo Ramirez, who I thought was done and over with, but is back after taking this title. So Ramirez is the champ again. My feeling is he's better at this weight than he was at 168 or even above that. And he showed that in the ring last Saturday night on the Golden Boy card promoted by Oscar De La Hoya. That's his champion. And former number one welterweight contender Alexis Rocha, also with Golden Boy on that card, goes to 24-2, 16 knockouts. He rebounded. He's back, just like Oscar Valdez is back. He got the TKO win over Frederick Lawson on that same Golden Boy card. Again, another Mexican fighter gets the win over the weekend. All right, a lot of other news in boxing. And hot and heavy news, including Shakur Stevenson. ESPN is reporting that his next opponent on July 6th in Newark, New Jersey on ESPN will be Hakeem Hakutuan. Final fight on Stevenson's top right contract. He'll fight in his hometown once again in Newark, New Jersey at the Prudential Center. Of course, Stevenson is the reigning WBC lightweight title holder, and the division has not been unified. We thought it was with Teofimo Lopez during his takeover and with Devin Haney, but one of his titles was vacated, and that's how boxing politics works, like I just told you moments ago. But Shakur Stevenson finally back in the ring on July 6th. And Jesse Bam Bam Rodriguez told the IBF that he's relinquishing his flyweight title. Here we go again. Titles being given up by fighters who deservedly won them. Prior to his fight versus WC Junior Bantamweight champ Juan Francisco Estrada on June 29th in Glendale, Arizona, Rodriguez says he is relinquishing the IBF flyweight title. Rodriguez, of course, one of the little guys, exciting, 19-0, 12 knockouts, coming off a win over Sergey Sonny Edwards, a ninth round TKO in December. But for that IBF belt and the WBO IBF title now, he is giving it up. That now supposedly the IBF says will be contested by Angel Ayala and Dave Apollinario. You know, why boxing gets confusing? There's a reason. Why you can't keep up with who's a champion in each division? There's another reason why. Fighters will win titles, give up the belts. And why does that happen? That's always posed to me, my friends, and I try and tell you. Well, either a fighter feels that he can be better off going up another weight and handle that well. We see that a lot. We see a lot of fighters go up in weight, and or fighters can't get the fights they want in the division they're in, feel they can handle it better in another division, go up in weight. A lot of it, of course, comes down to the almighty dollar. They can make money in a different division. Better fights can be made in a different division. I'm not saying this is happening with Bam Bam Rodriguez. I'm not saying that might particularly be the cause with him relinquishing his IBF flyweight title, but it happens a lot. And because we don't have a real national governing body that runs the sport, the year as I always propose to have a national boxing commission, fighters basically can do what they want, and the promoters are not going to say no, and the managers will go along with it. It comes down to, I guess, and I wouldn't guess, the almighty dollar. How fighters change divisions rapidly and relinquish titles once too much. A national governing body, my friends, can end that all. But, my friends, that'll never happen. The promoters don't want it. The sanctioning bodies of those alphabet soup organizations never want that. I'd like to hear your comments on that. All right. What am I getting to now? Before I get to Ryan Garcia, I was going to do this later, but give you some other boxing news of notes that came in late the last couple of days. Let me get to this. We're talking about 140 and Teofimo Lopez, and it's supposedly, according to ESPN, also is going to fight Steve Clackett June 29th down in Miami for the WBO junior welterweight title. So that came out a couple of days. You know, Teofimo Lopez, last time he was supposed to fight Gambosis Jr. in Miami. I remember that well 2 years ago because I got off the plane and the title fight was scrapped. And that was 2021, 22, whatever. I got off the plane. The fight was canceled because Lopez got COVID. And the whole title fight and the whole card was canceled. So he goes back to Miami on June 29th, hopefully with better results. Now, bear in mind again that Teofimo Lopez has a title in that 140-pound division and is a major player in it. Takeover? No. I think you'd have to first get Devin Haney before he even thinks about that. But Lopez is still someone to watch at 140. You always have to watch him. Okay? And also, let's see this. Another one I've got here. Here was something out of the ridiculous book that I can't stand. It's been reported that KSO1 is going to fight 75-year-old Hall of Famer, former heavyweight champ George Foreman. Ridiculous. That was a rumor that's coming to fruition, my friends. And that'll be pay-per-view. Why would George Foreman want to do that? Just read about that yesterday. I heard about it as well, so I can go on that might be happening. All right, that might happen. All right, what else? Okay, before I get to Ryan Garcia, here we go. Upcoming fights this weekend of interest. I want you to pay attention. You got the plus on ESPN. You're going to want to see Mexican junior welterweight Jamir Espinoza against Angel Martinez. 10 rounds. That's in Mexico. Espinoza is 26-0, relatively unknown. 15-2, 14 knockouts. And he's on that ESPN card plus this weekend. And on the zone, a good one during WrestleMania weekend. I'm going to handle all of this. Richard Higgins in a welterweight title eliminator, IBF, against Gustavo Lamos. That's a junior welterweight title eliminator. He is undefeated. He's fast, and he's a player in that division. Going to watch him on the zone this weekend. An undefeated super welterweight, a good one, Diego Pacheco. We'll try and keep that streak intact this weekend on the zone. Pacheco, if you haven't seen it, I'm sure you have if you're a boxing enthusiast like I am, has it all. Wins his fight, and at some point, according to Eddie Hearn, I believe it, he's with Matchroom, Pacheco, should get a title shot next year. I don't think it'd be this year. Of course, he's at 168. And where are the titles held up there? With Canelo Alvarez, with Munguia, May 4th, where he defends again. So I don't know if Pacheco's going to get that shot this year. He might get it if Canelo decides I'm going to, if he loses, because I don't expect him to against Munguia, or if Canelo steps aside for some reason or another. But Diego Pacheco deserves a title shot. If he wins this fight this weekend, he should get it. But I don't know how. That, again, boxing politics. All right, let's keep it going. My social media are scroll to the bottom of the screen. And also, we're live here on the AGT Network, YouTube, my channel, Rich Mancuso, and on Facebook, Keep It in the Ring. Like, comment, and subscribe. All right, let's get to, and I got to come up with a tune with this. We're nearing in, about 3 weeks away, Ryan Garcia. The fight's still on. But his social media and his crazy social media posts continue. Ryan Garcia doesn't need this attention. He should focus more, as I keep telling you week by week, my friends. Focus on the fight. Where is his mentality? There is no news about the New York State Athletic Commission mandating that he take a psychological test before he goes in the ring to see if his mental capabilities are all there. And there's been no further word on that, so I guess we could say that's not going to happen. However, Ryan Garcia continues to train hard, so he says, and continues to post his messages on Twitter, or formerly X, and Instagram, and continues to put messages up that you have to try and comprehend, and take your time trying to comprehend what he's saying. Here's one right here. Did the U.S. admit they killed JFK? Just curious. Another conspiracy theory coming from Ryan Garcia, who's trying to defeat Devin Haney for the title at 140 on April 20th at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Here's another one. Free my people. What is he saying? We took it to the chat, and now you're grape on. I look. Steal our children, underpay immigrants, deny access unless you need them. Look, he's coming out with these political views that make no sense. No sense. Conspiracy theories. This week about JFK and the assassination. Last week about the collapse, Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. That he predicted that. And he's really drilling a lot on the children, talking about they have to be free. Here he was Easter Sunday, celebrating with his son, family, having a good time. A lot of posts from Ryan Garcia about children and how they should be treated better. I don't argue with that. My contention with Ryan Garcia is, again, why is he focusing on issues that are not related to his big fight, the mega fight on pay-per-view at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn on April the 20th. That's my contention. And you wonder again, is Ryan Garcia's mental ability still there? All right. I'm going to, all right. So you see how I feel about it. Let's take a look before we go to pro wrestling, and we got a lot of that. And I'm not even going to go to a break right away. I'm going to get him on because he's on hold. The Mike Tyson, Jake Paul rules are out. The fight is happening in July on Netflix. It's going to make a lot of money. It's an extravaganza. Here are the rules. They officially have been released. What is your take on that? 16-ounce gloves, not the usual 10. 16 ounces are always used. 2-minute rounds, no official judges. Either Paul or Tyson will have to get a knockout for the win. Ridiculous. Tyson must pass EKGs and EEG medical procedures. Rules for fighters over the age of 36. He's 58. There is that 30-year difference in age. I don't expect this to be very competitive. I don't like the fight happening because, again, Jake Paul should be focusing on his career and fighting the best fighters so he can move up the ladder. As he says, he's the best in the world. Mike Tyson needs money. He always does. That's obvious. You hope Tyson doesn't get hurt, though he's in great shape. And many are saying that Tyson will get the win and knock out Paul. I don't know about that. I don't expect there to be a winner. I don't expect this to be hard fought. I think it's an extravaganza. I think it's a joke. What are your thoughts and comments? Let me know on the AGT Network and my page. Keep it in the ring. All right. And there was a UFC apology from Severino about biting his opponent. There's no excuse to biting his opponent. He's asking to be redeemed and get another chance. I agree with it, whether it was a mishap or intentional. Severino deserves another chance and should not be banned from the UFC. He might end up with another MMA promotion or give him another chance, but Dana White to this day still says no. Again, your thoughts and comments on that. All right. We usually take a break and then we go back to boxing more later, but because he's waiting and he went to Philadelphia to be a big part of WrestleMania weekend events, I'm going to bring him on right now. And it's my pleasure. We have him on the phone line. Now, he's going to be audioed. We won't see him. A good friend. We go back in the past. He's down in Philadelphia right now. Former ECW superstar Jason Knight. We go back a long time. Hey, Jason, thanks for coming on. I appreciate the time. I know that you had a run to get down to Philadelphia for all the events this weekend. First of all, my friend, we haven't talked in a long time. How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you. Actually driving at the moment. We just, let's see, we're pulling into, we're in Philly, close to the airport, just looking for the hotel. And, all's good, considering the fact that, it was raining and, kind of messy out there and crazy drivers and everybody's trying to get somewhere. But, here we are, and yes, Rich and I go back since the 1980s, my friend, 1980s. Yes. Can you hear me?
Hello?
All
right, hold on, guys. I'm having a little technical difficulty with my sound. Do you hear me now?
I can hear you, yes.
All right. I'm sorry about that, Jason. I got cut off. You know how technical issues are when you're doing a live show. You've been through many of them. I missed what you said, Jason, but I'm glad you're on, and I'm glad you're down there in Philly safe and sound after all the bad weather you extremed up north. Jason, it's got to...
Actually, I'm sorry, not to cut you off, but, you mentioned that you and I have known each other for a very long time. And yes, Rich, you and I have known each other since the 1980s.
I know.
Yes.
We're both old school, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We go back on the indie circuit and you're running ECW. And I did do some ring announcing and ringside commentary for many of your matches and immediately saw what type of superstar you would become, especially when you got to ECW. And I got to bring up the attention of ECW right away with you because part of WrestleMania weekend is the Hall of Fame induction ceremony tomorrow night. It's on Peacock Live and down there in Philadelphia. I don't know what venue it's at because there were so many venues with events this weekend. But
Oh yeah.
your old buddy and colleague, the guy that put you to work and made you more of a superstar in ECW, Paul Heyman, is being inducted. I want your thoughts, memories, feelings about Paul Heyman. It's well deserved. What stands out of Paul Heyman and your days with ECW?
Well, I was discussing that actually with Desiree, my wife to be, if I may mention, that he had great teachers, and yet he had plenty of talent. Because Paul is made for show business, and especially for this industry, and he's extremely smart, and he feels his way around and pretty much predicts uh, the stardom of the future stars and the people that he had put to work, as you said, and pushed. I mean, he's just an absolute genius, and absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, he's been around for a hell of a long time. He's yes, he has. Ever since he was a teenager, and he paid his dues, and he's been all over the world and everywhere. And now, the big stage, the WWE. I wish that we still had the original ECW, but things happen. People move on, and I'm very happy for him.
When you worked with him, we're talking to Jason Knight, former ACW superstar, still wrestles and has his own promotion. We'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah,
When you wrestled for Paul Heyman, what made that? And I went to those ECW cards, as you know,
yeah,
and I used in the 2300 arena, a warehouse, it
yeah,
became such a success. He struggled with it financially, but kept it going. But
yeah.
every match had an angle and a good one. Every match was exciting. You couldn't leave the place. You wanted it to continue. You wrestled on those cards. What made that arena, Paul and ECW, so special at that time?
I think it's well, obviously the spectators, the people that came from not only Philadelphia but all over the United States and all over the world. That I mean, everyone had something in common there, and I think that they so much associated with us, the talent, the guys behind that curtain, men, women behind that curtain. It's family. It really is, because those spectators, those fans are just as much a family as the next wrestler, the next promoter, the next referee. Um, I think that I really think that the people supporting us worked just as hard, and they had expectations, and they had their own hopes and dreams, and they're really the ones that made it happen, because otherwise we would have been we would have been doing whatever we're doing to an empty arena.
Yeah, one of your fans is commenting right now, Ty from Sports Talk, I believe, and he's claiming how watching ECW live had been better than watching WWE or WCW that he's been to. And I think I get that reaction from a lot of fans. And again, you got to credit Paul Heyman for doing that.
Oh
You know, Jason, I knew Paul when he was 17 years old, knocking
right.
on doors to get into arenas. He was
Hmm.
a photographer at the time, and I
Yeah,
let him in at a few indie shows I worked with because I
yeah,
was one of the guys in charge. He was special. He knew the business at that age.
yeah, 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 yeah,
You know,
definitely. Some people are just like that. They They have something within it, something they're born with that they should be doing, and that is exactly what Paul should be doing and what he had continued to do. Because I mean, um, you know his. You know him as a young man, and of course he went to college and he was supposed to become a lawyer, and his
Yeah.
pretty much said, well, you know, if this is the route that you're going to go, you're not getting any support from us, not financial or otherwise. So it took a lot of stones for him to, especially for a young Jewish kid from New York, uh, to uh, create a life for himself down south, um, and go through all well, between that whole north and south thing.
Right, right.
I mean,
He revolutionized what you
yeah,
call
yeah,
extreme. That's what he did.
he did. Because
And made it, and you were part of that.
yeah, yeah.
Were those matches scripted, or do you guys go in there and do it on your own?
Well, I mean, you got you pretty much get the Paul's great because he'll give you the general idea. Unlike what I've seen over in uh, WWF or or whatever it is called these days.
WWE.
Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. With all due respect, but I've seen how they pretty much attempt to script everything to a
Mm,
T, and of course, it never ends up 100% going that way. And I think that's a mistake because you were taken away from a lot of talented people that might surprise you if you give them the ball and they will run with it. And
mm.
that's what Paul did. He would give you a general idea of what he wanted you to do,
God, dude.
and then you run.
Yeah.
It was very honest, with you when you walked out.
And I've heard similar things from guys.
Yeah,
Uh, the guys he made in that promotion, and you know
yeah,
it as well as I know, but better,
yeah, yeah.
Sandman and
Oh yeah,
Tommy Dreamer, who I got to know
yeah,
right away when he walked into Johnny Rogers Professional Wrestling School in Brooklyn at Gleason's gym the first day I met him.
right,
Who else? Sabu, even the great Sabu, what he did with him and
yeah,
Dudley's, whoever.
yeah.
Is do you keep in touch with Paul? And
I haven't. I mean, I would love to, but it's
yeah,
we've been separated for quite a while. I think the last time I actually saw him was probably the very
yeah.
first TV taping for the WWE version of ECW that I pretty much walked out on, because I, I knew it was going to be crap, and
Yeah, yeah,
almost
yeah.
like I didn't really want to even be a part of it.
Right. But Paul Heyman in ECW, I'll ask you, did that define your career?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've uh, the- I've wrestled for quite a while before that. I mean,
Right.
I was already a veteran, and then of course 1993, and it was ironic because in that summer 1993, I had my back surgery, the first one, and then the second one followed, and he's like, well, in 3 months we're having this ultra clash, I want you to come and work. And I was like, well, I just had this back surgery. Well, you're going to be working with Teddy and Johnny, of course,
Mm.
yeah, and Mike Dorm, Johnny Grunge. And I'm like, I'll be there, because of course I know those guys and I trusted them. And even with my raw back, and I wasn't supposed to get back in the ring for like a year or two, and here I am 3 months later already back in the ring. And he appreciated that, and that's pretty much why he gave me that persona as a manager, so I could heal up and stay in the business, and not take so much time off.
Oh, the fans loved you. The fans
Yeah,
loved you,
yeah.
Jason, in ECW. They loved you on the indie circuit as well, all around.
Yeah,
But
W,
it's your persona. You had a great gimmick going,
yeah,
uh, and you could do it all.
yeah, he did very well in the beginning, and then later on it kind of got lost in the shuffle, because again, there's a lot of great talent that that was hired, by Paul Heyman, by ECW, and a lot of us say, look, why were we there? Because quite frankly, nobody was knocking on our door to
Yeah.
to bring us in elsewhere. So that was the next best thing, which turned into the best thing that happened for
Right.
pretty much all of us. And again, as you mentioned, Dudley's and Sabu and Taz and all those very, very hard-working people that deserve exactly, to be where they're at. And like I said, hard-working people, very hard-working individuals, and Sandman, all of them, they put
Right.
their minds and hearts right there on the line, and it was it was definitely not an easy way to come up in a business and earn a living.
Right. Right. Well, you took a lot of pounding. You were injured a few times, and were able to recover because you're so. I remember you as always being this physical specimen that I never was. And yeah, I remember years ago I came to visit you, and you were living in Queens at the time. I
Yeah,
think in the Astoria. I remember we were
yeah,
talking about that. You offered to train me back then. I said, yeah, yeah, whatever.
yeah.
But how old are you now, Jason?
I'm 60.
Wow, and I remember that's how long I haven't seen you,
Yeah,
because years have flown by. But
yeah.
we're going to be seeing each other again real soon. I'll get to that in a moment. Jason Knight, former ECW superstar. What ended the reign with you in ECW? Was it the injuries? Was it they're coming to an end? Briefly, how did that end?
Well, it was a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and quite frankly, I did not feel comfortable in my managerial position. Because
Right,
I felt like a fifth wheel. And especially you have all these beautiful women that are managing their valets, and
right, right,
no one wants to look at me. I remember Paul and I talking about it, and he was like, "No, no, I'm going to turn you loose, and have you wrestle and do your own thing." And I was very happy, but that never happened, and my attitude kind of changed, and I started getting uh,
right,
very disappointed, very down on myself because I was training so hard, and I was
right.
ready for it. So again, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and uh, out of anger, a person can say a lot of things, but you know what? Hey, let's move on, and let bygones be bygones, and start over. Because look, I'm 60 years old. Um, I have not been in the ring pretty much for like 12 years now. This is going to be my first big thing tomorrow night at
Mm,
W Arena. I had like 3 or 4 matches in the past year that were, they were good. They were kind of like a warm up matches for me, and this is it for me. So I'm just moving on. It's like I'm restarting at 60 years old, you
yeah.
know, and I'm training probably harder than ever, but also smarter than ever. And
I got a question from
yeah,
JD against Sports. He wanted to know. He's a loyal follower of the program. He wanted it. He knew you were coming on tonight. Got quite a
yeah.
few in the queue, but this one. What wrestling school did you go to?
I went to well, I went to Johnny Rod's.
A lot of them did in New York. Yeah,
The real wrestling.
yeah. The Hall of Famer, one of the
Oh,
first
yeah,
WWF inductees, by the
yeah,
way. And I went to that ceremony. I think
yeah.
you were there too as well that day.
No, no, I
Yeah.
wasn't. No,
And
and
it was in one of the hotels in New York City, very small,
might have
not
been.
like it is now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my, yeah.
So you were trained by Johnny Rods.
Johnny Rods and Bobby Bald Eagle. Bobby and I became really good friends, and I liked his style as well because he had that international style, and pretty much for us smaller stature wrestlers, where we can be a little more just show more variety and everything. And,
Jason, what advice do you give a young person? I get this all the time. Could you give a young person advice how to get involved in the wrestling business? It's a
I,
nasty business, as you know, and it's competitive. How do you
yes,
get you started? What do
yeah,
they do?
well, I mean, first you want to find you want to do plenty of homework, and there are a lot of fly by night schools. This trainer, that trainer, and I see a lot of stuff out there. That is really, really, really bad and very dangerous, and downright. And a lot of these young people that they're not ready. They're not conditioned. They're not in shape. It's they should not be in the ring until they're either ready or until they have somebody that can train them both in ring and as far as their physical appearance and capabilities. That's why I'm going to be opening up my own wrestling school in
Mm-hmm.
Milford, Pennsylvania area in a few short months. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and I already had two of them that were very successful. I trained Velvet Sky and Mercedes Martinez, among other wrestlers.
And you did a great job with that as
Yeah,
well.
but
Yeah.
I think they're they're absolutely wonderful and they're doing great. But like I said, very very important to find that right facility because again, I was going to say before I joined Johnny Rods, uh, I did train in those little outlaw gyms over in Ridgewood, New York, and they
Right.
put on shows and everything. And I always
The
feel
old Ridgewood Grove. Yeah, I remember.
yeah, yeah, and
Remember,
I always
yeah.
the
I don't. Now I think we lost Jason. I wanted to keep him on a few other things. Carl, is he? Carl Robert.
and Bowley.
Oh, there you are. Okay, Jason. I thought I lost you. We're gonna wrap it up in a few. Soon with you
Mhm.
anyway.
Yeah,
Go ahead. What were you saying?
yeah. Like I said, very very important to find yourself the right training facility that offers not only training professional wrestling, but somebody that can,
Do it
advise
the
you.
right way. Do it the
Yeah,
right way. That's what it
physical
is.
fitness
Yeah,
and
I
endurance,
agree.
and yeah,
Yeah. Now, Jason, speaking of that, you're
yeah,
going to open up a new pro wrestling school, which I'm excited to hear and know, and
yeah,
I hope it's where I can come visit from time to time.
absolutely,
Now, you have you're a promoter as well. Let's put that
yeah,
up, Carl.
yeah,
Let's put up, talk about your next promotion, which I hope to attend with Carl and see if
yes,
we can be there. And
please do,
I'd love to get
yeah.
involved with this. You got to get back to me. I would love to get
Absolutely.
involved with you on this.
100%. You see, I ran a promotion in Connecticut years ago, and it did very well. Assault Championship Wrestling, and it went on for a few years, and then of course I left Connecticut and kind of left the business for a while. So yeah, we are relaunching Assault Championship Wrestling, and May 18th in Williamstown, New Jersey. We are going to have a hell of a show. We have great talent lined up, and plenty of surprises and great matches. And of course, the main event will be Gary Wolf and I, along with Mikey Whipwreck, versus the Backseat Boys, along with Johnny Cashmere. Uh,
Wow.
Other than that, we have great performers from pretty much all over the country. As well as we have Tony Myers, Leatherface is coming in, and he is going to be. Let's see, who is he? Oh yeah, he's going to be wrestling in a hardcore match. Peter Be Beautiful, and
How often are you running these promotions now?
well, we ran one last summer, and it was just kind of it was a feeler. It did well, but this is really going to be the next big one, and then we are planning to run as often as possible. I think we have October 12th booked as well at the same place at the Pfeiffer Center in Williamstown, New Jersey.
Well, they're
Also,
independent promotions that they're the backbone of, boxing has these other promotions that are backbone of the sport. So are these
yes, of
independent
course,
wrestling promotions. They've
yes,
always been. Jason, I'm going to try and be there. I'd love to get
please
involved.
do.
You need, I'm not pitching for a job, but do you need an
Yeah.
announcer or a ring announcer? I'd love to work with you again.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rich Mancusa, you can do it all.
That's my
Anything,
friend.
anything, anything that you're willing to do and willing to help, it is our pleasure, our honor and privilege. And I mean, you are. To me and to other people, you're a legendary in this
Oh,
business.
thank you. I appreciate it. Nice work, Jay.
Uh,
Listen, I'll get your number from my
yeah,
producer, Carl Roberts, and we'll exchange, we'll talk.
yeah,
Because I definitely want to come down to that show and talk. I don't know if you have a streaming network planned, and I'm
yeah.
involved in all that stuff. So we will talk about it. All right.
Yes,
All right.
yes,
Jason Knight, but before I let you go,
yeah.
I'm not going to let you off the hook because
Okay.
Rich Mancuso does a fact of the week every week. We're going to be boxing, and this time we do pro wrestling. I think you're going to like this fact of the week. So hang in there, see if you can get it. Carl roll it. It's not fact of the week. All right, Jason.
Mhm.
Hope you like that cue.
Oh yeah, love it.
All right. Here's the fact of the week. It's not trivia. See if you can get it. You might. You remember Just Incredible, right? We just talked about him.
I sure do.
You know, he had a previous gimmick.
Yeah. Yes.
He was Aldo Montoya, right?
Yes, I remember
Who was he in that gimmick with in ECW?
in ECW.
Yeah, was it ECW or somewhere else?
No, that was the World Wrestling Federation at the time.
Okay,
Yes.
but he was once a member of a clique with some other well-known talent.
Yes.
Do you remember who? Who was that?
Well, I remember. It was Sean Waltman.
You got it.
Yeah, Sean Waltman. Of course, the entire pack. Remember?
Yeah, with Sean Waltman.
Yeah.
It was Scott Hall, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H.
Yes, Triple H, and I believe.
Yeah.
That Kevin Nash was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All of them. Yep. The clique.
Yep.
Yeah,
all the great ones. Yeah.
Just Incredible. Once part of that clique. Jason Knight, always a part of my clique.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for the time, Jason, former ECW superstar. We will be in touch. We'll come down to that show. Carl, put it up again before he heads to all the festivities there in Philadelphia. There it is. Jason, again, we'll have our fans take note of this and come out and support that show, as I will. All right?
So much.
And we'll be in touch and enjoy everything in Philadelphia. Where are you going to be? At WrestleCon?
Yeah, I mean, it's I'm pretty much focusing for tomorrow night. It's very important to me for that block party and of course the night show, because again I'll be back in the ring.
Yeah,
for a long time, especially there. But I think I have other stuff going.
So much going on. WrestleMania weekend.
Yeah.
Jason Knight.
Yeah,
Why?
Prizes on Saturday night.
Yeah.
It's
Good luck to you
right now, but we'll
we're
gonna raise
have a great time this weekend. Enjoy it all. I hope to be down there Saturday night or Sunday night. I don't know what, but there's so much going down there for WrestleMania weekend, all week, in fact, including today and tonight. And you're a part of that. And again, I thank you. Keep it in the ring, and I'll be in touch after the weekend. Okay, my friend?
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Jason, one other thing. How do fans reach you? How do fans reach you?
Facebook's fine. My official website, and that's what is that again? AssaultChampionshipWrestling.com.
That's I forget my websites all the time as well. Don't worry about it. Okay. All right, my friend.
Thank you, Desiree.
Best stay well to you and your lovely wife, and I'll see you soon. I'll be in touch after the weekend. All right.
Wonderful. Okay.
Great, Jason. Thanks for joining us. Keep it in the ring.
Best wishes.
As Jason Knight, former ECW superstar, great insights on working with Paul Heyman, heading to the WWE Hall of Fame tomorrow night. And his days at ECW and his perspectives on wrestling and his promotion that we'll plug here on the program. Hope to be a part of that. I pitched him for a job. Okay. One other note before we go to break. I need a break, and we're going to have a lot more wrestling and boxing talk. We're going over this week, of course, on Keep It in the Ring. Put this up, Carl. Martha Hart being outspoken about Vince McMahon. And she's come out. She was on News Nation. Paul Romer's been on there, and I'm trying to get him on the program and talk about all the sexual allegations, the investigation, and the trouble Vince McMahon is in, that he's no longer involved in WWE at all. He's been erased completely, ashamed with the legacy and with WrestleMania weekend and how he started all this. And no more Vince McMahon at all, no word of him. And the shame of it is he may never be inducted into their Hall of Fame, something he started. But Martha Hart, very outspoken, and she's not denying anything that she's heard or read, and had some good insights on Vince McMahon, that whole investigation. And of course, her late husband Owen. You remember that on the pay-per-view? I forgot which one in Omar in Kansas, and how he tragically died. And the show continued, and Martha Hart previously had first expressed her doubts about continuing the show. Her husband just died in the ring coming down from the rafters on a harness that obviously got loose. And then she regressed those statements, retracted. She is not a Vince McMahon fan, that's for sure. So catch it on News Nation. News Nation has been doing a lot of WWE content when it comes to Vince McMahon. You won't want to miss it if you have it on your cable or Roku, whatever you get your programming. And plenty of wrestling news and insights leading to this WrestleMania week and weekend. Last night on the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, you had Roman Reigns and The Rock. And they've been all over the place, and they're on, and they'll continue to be tonight, tomorrow morning, on all the news programs. You know, WrestleMania has become that big extravaganza. We're going to WrestleMania number 40, and we're going to talk more about that coming up after the break. I'll bring Carl Roberts in, and we'll run down the card, give out predictions, and do a lot more. It's Rich Mancuso. This is Keep It in the Ring. We're going to take about a minute or two breather and come back with the extended version this week. Pro Wrestling Talk coming up and much more. Stay with us. Log on. If you haven't already, subscribe and then like and comment. AG2 Network, Rich Mancuso here on YouTube, and Keep It in the Ring, the page. We're here every week for you. Appreciate if you could subscribe and leave your comments. Back in a moment, fans. I'm Rich Mancuso. This is Keep It in the Ring. A lot more to come. I thought we were going to go longer with the break, but I guess not. But that's okay. We'll continue. We're running over the hour this week. Keep It in the Ring with Rich Mancuso. Like, comment, subscribe. Live on the AGT Network. Rich Mancuso at YouTube. And Keep It in the Ring on Facebook and other social media platforms. Appreciate it if you do that. And there are the social media handles. I'm at Ring786 on X, formerly Twitter, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, other social media platforms. Read my columns on NewYorkSportsDay.com and other websites as I post them often, and also the upcoming fight schedule of importance coming up, scrolled at the bottom of your screen. You know, in between WrestleMania this weekend, we got some good fight action this weekend, including Richard Hitchens, and also, you know what? Why am I drawing my blank again? Because he's my favorite. He's one of my favorites. I talked about him on the opening. Undefeated super middleweight Diego Pacheco. And why did I forget that? Because I'm getting old. That's why. All right, Carl, let me bring you in. Let's bring Carl Roberts in, my great producer, he loves wrestling as much as I do. Carl, before we continue, I got to show the fans some more nostalgia. And we'll continue. We're going to do the WrestleMania. By the way, Jason Knight was great. He was great.
Oh yeah,
and I knew he would be. And I'll get his number from you when we go off the air.
definitely.
Way back in the 1980s, when pro wrestling rumors and gossip had no social media like it is now, when you had to dial a 900 number to get your information and pay a price to get those rumors, predictions, and so forth, before social media. We had the newsletter, Dave Meltzer with the Observer, of course, who became a great colleague, and we keep in touch from time to time. When I was on WFAN doing Keep It in the Ring at 3 a.m, Dave was a constant guest, and the Wrestling Observer newsletter was just starting. But it was big then and just starting. Imagine what it is now. He's got over 1 million subscribers, for goodness sakes. But I had Keep It in the Ring on the radio with Jody Mack, and I had a Keep It in the Ring newsletter. People would subscribe. I did it there was no computer layout. I did it hard copy on a table with Derek Gordon, who became a good friend. And we'd put this together every month, maybe twice a month. The old Keep It in the Ring newsletter. People subscribed at a minimal price and read content and Rich Mancuso opinion and everything else. Carl, put up those. Do you have it?
You mean this one?
Yeah, there you go. and I also, I enjoyed doing that. It was time consuming, but I enjoyed it. And I didn't profit from it. Very little. I did this for the fans, like I do this program for the fans.
Here's the next one, Rich.
Yeah, take a look. Keep It in the Ring newsletter, done by hand. Brought it to the printer. They made mass copies, and then I went to the old post office, put a stamp on it, and sent it out. That's the old fan club. And underneath the photo with me and old Rich Mancuso with the late Bruno Sammartino, who got me really involved in wrestling from the beginning as a kid and later on worked with him, and Captain Lou Albano. That's the old fan club. I had a fan club. Many of them, I don't know where they are now. I am not in touch with any of them. And there's the cover of one of the issues. I still have a lot of the issues that I did here, in my files. But what do you think of that, Carl? Keep It in the Ring newsletter.
I would love to see that more often now than the stupid gossip sheets.
Yeah.
Bring back the style.
I bet you'd never subscribe to my Keep It in the Ring newsletter, right?
I'll be honest with you, I was too young.
You couldn't afford $4 a month?
In '83, I was only 4 years old.
Oh, that explains it. That's right. I got years on you. Just like Mike Tyson has years on Jake Paul. By the way, so much going on as we turn more to the wrestling sport now. Great to hear from Jason Knight. That was terrific. There's so many events going on in Philadelphia this week. You can't keep track. I saw the calendar. It's not only WWE events. There's a lot of other independent promotions. One Jason Knight is involved with. There's autograph signings. There's WrestleCon. There's so much. I don't know how the fans down there can keep up with everything, but they're there.
And a lot of Ring of Honor tomorrow night.
Now, you can't get a hotel room anywhere near that area. I was on WIP radio with Ricky Ricardo at 1 a.m. last Saturday night into Sunday morning, and I'll be on with him again, analyzing WrestleMania again this Sunday into Monday morning after the final Sunday of matches. We talked about that, the economy it boosts, and how WrestleMania and how cities try to bid with the outdoor venues for this 2-night event. It's become just a great spectacular, worth the purchase. If you're on Peacock, it's even more worth it. And if you get to attend, you're a lucky fan because you can't get tickets for WrestleMania no more.
No. And it actually started with the 2 nights was during COVID.
Right.
You were still fans. But a lot of it changed after the last WrestleMania here in Jersey.
Yeah, and then they had the COVID WrestleMania at the Performance Center with no one there, where McIntyre defeated Lesnar for the title, which was a total farce. It wasn't fair for anyone to see that, or for even the wrestlers to perform in a situation like that. But they wanted to save it. They could have just postponed it, But I guess they were desperate to put it on. It was supposed to be in Tampa, Raymond James Stadium. And then they moved it there the following year with a limited number of fans. But Carl, another event is on WrestleMania week. I think it's tomorrow night in Philadelphia. Ring of Honor has their show there. Tony Khan booked Philadelphia on WrestleMania weekend on his conference call. Was it today or yesterday? He said it was the proper place to do it with all the activity going on. That'll be sold out as well. And it's a good card, but it's not going to get any play. Mark Briscoe against Eddie Kingston. I want to see that. It's on pay-per-view, Ring of Honor, but, I think it's a little too much for 1 week for a wrestling fan. They can't get it. It's like what boxing does. Sometimes that they put on two major shows at once, and you don't know which one to watch. You have to watch them at the same time on the streaming networks. Here's a case this weekend with WrestleMania weekend. It is so much going on, Carl.
Yeah. In a way, it's smart, but also, too, in a way, it's, in my opinion, it's stupid. Let one promotion have their moment.
That's how I feel. But, it's all about the money. They'll do what they want to do. They don't care. They go where they want, where they know they have to keep dates and make the money. And that's what's going on this weekend. During WrestleMania weekends, it should be just solely WWE. But it's the wrestling fan they know is going to be there, so they know the whole world of wrestling is going to be in Philadelphia for the week or for 2 days, so they're going to do it all. It makes sense to them in that perspective. And speaking of AEW, they're leading to what? Was it Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay, right? Which will be good. Legend against a sort of a young legend, and it's official. Samoa Joe against Swerve, and that's going to be a bloodbath for AEW Dynasty on pay-per-view, April 21st. We saw that unfold more officially on Dynamite last night.
Yeah, I really want to see what the card's going to look like. So far, it's only just the two matches so far that has been announced that I can remember. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to watch last night.
So
we'll have more of that.
It was a dull show. Dynasty was dull last night. The main part was the end when Swerve and Joe signed the contract. Then Joe got the chain from Swerve and bloodied him to mess, which fans like to see. They like to see bloodbaths.
Right.
Even in boxing, they like to see bloodbaths like we saw. But Mercedes still does not have a match yet. I would think that she'll be on that pay-per-view, but nothing's been announced.
I don't know how they're going to work that.
I don't know. Well, AEW continues to do business. They claim they're doing well, but they can't reach 800,000 people on the ratings meter for their shows. But Tony Khan said on the conference call, we're doing well. And he didn't dwell on CM Punk's comments about AEW and how he left abruptly after all the incidents that Punk supposedly caused. Tony Khan just didn't want to talk about it. I don't blame him. He shouldn't have to talk about it. Punk was very outspoken this week about his reign in AEW and Tony Khan. What was your take on that?
I was very shocked at some of what he was saying, especially that Jack Perry. Basically, he went into business for himself. He went to people and they said, "No, don't do that spot," and he did it anyway.
Well, you know what? It worked out better for CM Punk. No, I don't know who to believe there, but it worked out better for CM Punk. He's happier, And when he comes back from the injury, he'll be back. He'll be in the title mix. All right. But speaking of many titles and so much, well, it's here. I can't believe it, but it's here. For 2 nights, we will be glued to WrestleMania in Philadelphia, WrestleMania 40. Well, actually, it started already this week, but you're going to have tomorrow night, you're going to have SmackDown in Philadelphia. I think it's at the, is that at the Lacrosse Center? I don't even know where it is. Right? Then you're going to have the induction ceremony live on Peacock. Paul Lee, the Rock's grandmother, Leah Maiba. Then you're going to, and also Thunderbolt Patterson. It's a great line of WWE inductees going in, Hall of Fame. If you have Peacock, watch it. And then you have, you also have Stand and Deliver for NXT.
Yes.
And that's at noon on Saturday, right? On Peacock. Yes. And you also have the Slammy Awards, I think, Monday after Raw. I think that's on Peacock as well, or is that on USA?
I think that's usually during the show.
But this is going on constantly since Monday. Most of the WWE activities of significance really start tonight and then continue into Monday Night Raw. So a great weekend to be a wrestler. I just hope the weather is warm enough for the fans at Lincoln Financial Field, where Ricky Ricardo tells me, I've never been in there. Where every seat opened up today. And every seat is a good seat. And they're going to see a total, I think, of 12 matches, maybe more being added as we speak. The Andre Giant Battle Royal is going to happen, I believe, on SmackDown, right? Is that on SmackDown?
What's that? Yeah, the Battle Royal is on SmackDown.
Okay. So let's go through the card as quick as we can, the best we can.
All the photos. I have
to
change some of the photos. So I have the lineup here from night 1 and night 2.
All right, let's go through night 1 and lead it off. I think I have it as well. So,
night 1 that I have here.
Let me come up with it.
In no particular order is Rhea Ripley, who is your women's champion, versus Becky Lynch for the Women's World Championship.
Okay, I find the way they're doing this, and they're putting the females up right away. But my rundown has night 1, Saturday night, main event, Jey Uso against Jimmy Uso leading it off. Is that what you have?
Okay, it doesn't have it listed here or who's the main event, who's the lead.
All right, well, so I'll go run down what I got. And of course, fans, if you want to comment, do it.
Yep.
Because I'm gonna let's start what I got. Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, a match that was coming. The two brothers always wanted to do this. They're going to get the spotlight Saturday night on the first night. All right. You don't have an image of them, but how do you think that briefly transpires?
That one is going to be an interesting one to see if any other the Bloodline come out to interfere with that match.
Yes. Now the proverbial question. Does Jay hug it out with his brother when it's over? Does Jimmy come to his senses? He belongs with him? Or does Jay go back to Jimmy and the Bloodline if they still exist?
That's the interesting question that even I'm questioning myself. Was like, where's the swerve in this one?
Right.
Because I could feel the swerve coming somewhere along the line.
I bet Rikishi, the father, the WWE Hall of Famer, gets involved.
He is going to be there.
Yeah, going to be getting involved. All right. I think it's going to be a great match. Two solid performers. All right. Rey Mysterio, Dragon Lee, Dirty Dom, and Santos Escobar. Been building.
This is just added.
I do. Okay. What I could see happening here is Mysterio eventually, if not Saturday night, night 1, leaving the Bloodline and joining that new faction with Escobar. I could see that happening. Dirty Dom leaves. They're not happy with him.
He would leave Judgment Day.
Right. I see that. Okay. And I could see Mysterio and Dragon Lee taking the fall here. I don't see them winning.
I don't either. But I do see that the LWO gets involved more than they should.
Should be a good one. You always get a good one with Rey Mysterio, and he's going to be opposing his son again on the other side. All right, Damage Control. Title match, of course. Looking forward to Bianca Belair, Naomi, and Jade Cargill's debut.
Yeah. This one's going to be a good one. We all know how Bianca wrestles, Naomi wrestles, and Damage Control. Now it's to see how Jade fits into this whole entire package.
What happens here, I believe, you're going to end up seeing that the inevitable Bianca Belair Jade Cargill match. One becomes the bad one.
Yeah.
I could see that. But I'm looking forward to that with Damage Control. I'm looking forward to this. Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. This has escalated into a war for the women's title. I do not see Becky Lynch getting the title. Rhea Ripley eventually becomes a good person. The bloodline, I think, is going to have a breakup. And Ripley becomes one of them, where she becomes a good fan favorite. Also, Becky Lynch has had that title, doesn't have a contract extension yet. It's going to get some time off. So I do see Rhea Ripley retaining, and it's going to be a dynamite good match. But where's Nia Jax? She's not involved unless she interferes in this. That's my favorite one. Nia Jax is my favorite.
I could see she interferes and Becky loses it because she would go in and attack Rhea Ripley and is like, all right, here's your pin. The ref catches it. No disqualification. I'm sorry, a disqualification. Rhea Ripley retains.
Ripley wins. I agree. Now, Gunther versus Sami Zayn. Chad Gable going to be involved in this. He's been tutoring and mentoring and helping Sami Zayn. For some reason, I feel that Intercontinental title reign's coming to an end, and Sami Zayn's going to win this title. Yeah. Chad Gable's going to help him.
With the way Chad Gable is, but then what I can also see is Sammy win it. Chad's congratulating him and then takes him out to start the feud between those two.
Well, I like this. I love the whole card. The 6-pack ladder match, WWE Undisputed Tag Team title. Run it down.
So you have the Judgment Day, which is Finn Balor and Damian Priest are your champions, versus DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, versus the Awesome Truth, which is the Miz and R-Truth.
Bloodline loses. They're going to break up.
The Judgment Day.
Not Bloodline. The Judgment Day loses. They're going to break up.
Here's the other ones. You have the New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, versus A-Town Down Under, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, and versus New Catch Republic, Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. I'm going to say the Judgment Day is going to lose, and it's going to be Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate.
Yeah, good point, Carl. They've been getting a big push on WWE platforms and programming. I could agree with that, but I do believe the Judgment Day, Balor and Priest are going to split, and we'll get to Priest some more as we move on. The Rock and Roman Reigns, here we go. The first of two. Main event, Rock and Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. You're hearing so many theories of how this is going to play out tonight, too. And I still go with what I said. I think you're going to see Reigns and The Rock will win the stipulation match. And Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins will get into it. Something will go wrong there. All right. That's going to be an interesting match, though, but it's going to follow into night 2.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to talk about that now.
Yep.
Night 2. If you have some images, put them up.
unfortunately, night 2, I don't have any of these images because they were changing a lot of the storylines,
It's all right.
and I wanted to get sure everything was right.
All right. AJ Night 2. AJ Styles, LA Knight.
Yes.
They've been battling for a couple of months, coming to a head. Another good one. You know how the popularity is of AJ Knight. Yeah, AJ Styles has been LA Knight. AJ Styles has been taking the falls one too often. It's a matter of who gets the advanced push here. Good match. LA Knight wins.
And you actually have a comment coming in from your buddy TD.
Mm-hmm.
TD Sports Terrence says, I think Rock and Reigns wins night 1.
Agree with that. We've agreed. Thank you, TJ. So who do you like briefly, Styles or Knight?
Comment here, Rich. He goes, LA Knight, but real quick, he goes, I heard Goldust may make an appearance.
No.
I
you
don't
know why.
think that's going to be possible.
He's AEW contracted. Would not happen. No. We had talked about that last week a bit, JR. That's not happening.
He's independent. That's a different story, but
then he could do it. All right.
With that one.
All right. So do you like Knight or Styles?
LA Knight.
Okay, I agree. The Pride versus the Final Testament, a street fight match. I always love street fight matches. All right. Had them a lot when I was a kid, but not like this. This street fight match, the Final Testament, they've been, they do things secretly and quietly, and they haven't really gotten the big push. But I like the Pride. This team of the Pride that was put together. Who are they again?
The Pride is Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford.
They don't win. That's why the Final Testament's going to win the street fight. The Pride seems to keep losing and not getting their way. Final Testament wins and gets another big push. Io Sky Bailey, WWE Women's title. I think Bailey becomes a champ again. Royal Rumble winner of the female division. Royal Rumble winner. I think Bailey, she's on her way to win another title. She defeats her adversary, former member Io Sky, out of Damage Control.
Yes.
All right, that should be a good one, too. I like the styles of both. It should be a good one. Now we go to this big one. Logan Paul, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton, the triple threat match for the title. Now, Logan Paul has been a good champion because of his name, and he's progressed very well in his limited time as a WWE performer. And he's good at what he does. He's good on the mic, and he's good in the ring. Kevin Owens, we know, and he's had these titles before. Randy Orton, with his return, has made a tremendous return. And I do believe that he and Owens will get into it. This is going to be a barn burner down at Donnybrook, as they say. Right? Triple threats always are. This one will be. But Randy Orton, to me, wins that title. You think Logan Paul retains with brass knuckles?
Logan Paul retains.
All right.
However, you have a Money in the Bank briefcase that needs
there we go.
In, and that's where Damian Priest cashes it in.
Damian Priest would be more lined up for a title like that instead of the major one. Or does Damian Priest go after the winner of Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre? We know the story with Rollins. Same with his wife, Becky Lynch. Contract not extended. We also know that he's going to need time off with the injured knee that he says he's medically cleared to wrestle. So I do see a title change. And McIntyre will hit into his story about beefing and complaining, not being fair, getting robbed out of this or that. Enough of that. So Rollins will lose the title, but here's where I see Damian Priest cashing in the briefcase. He's had it for a long time, over a year. It's time, and that's the title I think that he'll get. And McIntyre gets screwed again. What do you think?
I think it's more of, I like that idea, but I don't think they're going to pull the plug on that one. I think it's going to be more of Logan Paul title, because they're not going to go for the main event one. No, that one is like not acceptable right now. I
All
like
right.
Damian Priest, but he's not ready for that caliber of a title.
Really? I think he can hold a title. The only lacking skill he has, I believe, is his on the mic and talking. He's not great at that. I don't think he ever was, and I hope he gets better at it. But he's a great wrestler. I think it's his time, but I still think he's going to cash in on the winner there. And again, what do we know? They know, and they
Right.
change things at the last minute. Regardless, WrestleMania 2 nights, great nights of act. There might be more matches added, but it's going to be a great show. 7 p.m. Eastern for both nights. Pre-shows 5 p.m. all on Peacock. Here we go. Everyone buzzing, talking. We've been talking months since January. I've been talking about the appearance of The Rock at WrestleMania, but I didn't expect it to be this way. But the way it developed became a damn good storyline, and it might continue afterwards. Based off the stipulation match the night before, Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes. Finally, will Cody Rhodes' story come to an end? Will he become the champion? And how does he get it? First, my thoughts based on the night before. It's going to lead up to dissension between The Rock and Reigns, as I've been saying, and I think you're going to see the two of them become an eventual feud to lead to maybe a SummerSlam or WrestleMania match next year, that being The Rock and Roman Reigns' cousin. However, we know Steve Austin's going to be in town. We know John Cena's going to be in town, and we've gotten hints about all these other principles involved that the bloodline has screwed over the last few years, and that they may get involved in this match. That could very well happen. Regardless, Cody Rhodes will win the title. Roman Reigns will take some time off. Your thoughts on the main event coming off the night before where 4 of them are involved?
I feel that night 1, it will be the bloodline that wins, leading to the bloodline rules for night 2. But before any of that really bad mayhem that they can cause, the bloodline is taken out, leaving Roman Reigns and Cody alone in the ring. And it's a clean pin. No interference. It's a clean pin.
And the winner is?
Cody Rhodes.
Yes, he finishes the story. He's the face of the company right now. He becomes the champion, and Roman Reigns and The Rock will continue to feud when The Rock returns.
Correct.
And you're going to maybe even see The Rock raise Cody's hand. He's going to be a good guy again. I can see that happening. And this was all a plot to not have Roman because there's a division in the family. That, I believe, is going to come out.
Yeah.
Carl, it's going to be a great 2 nights of WrestleMania. I've watched every one of them. I've attended many of them. I hope to be there either one of those nights. I don't know which one. Maybe not. On Peacock. Very good analysis of what's coming on, and enjoy it, my friend. All wrestling fans will be glued to Peacock parties. It's the Super Bowl of the WWE and pro wrestling. It's WrestleMania, and it's 2 nights, Saturday and Sunday night on Peacock. Carl, great job tonight. We're going to take a brief come back, and wrap it all up with some other odds and ends. Thanks, Carl. Let's take this brief time out and come back and conclude Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Stay with us. All right, we'll wrap up Keep It in the Ring. Thanks for staying with us with the extended version this week. Live on YouTube, my channel, Rich Mancuso, and the AGT Network, and on Facebook. Keep It in the Ring page and Facebook and other social media platforms. Ring786 X, that's where you get me. Formerly Twitter, Facebook.com, Rich Mancuso, other social media platforms. Like, Subscribe. It's free, my friends, and comment. I want to hear from you, and thanks for watching and continued support here every week. We're going to wrap it up. Big boxing weekend as well ahead. Told you about Richard Hitchens and also the Zone show, and you have a little of everything. It's going to be a weekend of everything. If you're a sports fan, as the Final Four, but if you're a wrestling fan, as we did, it's WrestleMania. So catch what you can this weekend. I know I'm glued to it. I know you will be. All right, we'll wrap it up with a few more notes. And I want you to know, fans, if you have ESPN as an app or just regular ESPN, it's free to read. Tim Bradley, the former world champion Hall of Famer, gave a great perspective and insight on boxing and how the sport works. Everything from who sits in the red corner and the blue corner, everything from how a judges, the three blind mice, as I call, determine an outcome, everything from strategy, from a left-hander, a southpaw, to how a jab works and all of that. Tim Bradley broke it down on ESPN, a great column by the former world champion Hall of Famer. If you're a boxing aficionado, you're an expert, whatever, if you just love the sport, you need to read it, as I did today. Okay? And by the way, he says his analysis, usually the guy in the red corner wins, not because it's a fix, but usually the red corner might be where the champion is or the top contender. Take note of that next time you watch a significant fight or any fight that has a contender or a title holder. That's interesting. And now we go back in time, as I'm trying to do every week. Let's flash back, Carl, put it up. April 6, 1987, this week in boxing history, the undefeated Marvin Hagler and Sugar Ray Leonard. Remember this, Caesar's Palace, Las Vegas. I covered this fight in that era in the 80s where you had Hagler, Hearns, Leonard, and Duran. The undefeated Hagler with the split decision and takes the WBC middleweight title from Sugar Ray Leonard for the middleweight title. Now, this was a good fight. Back in the 80s, all those fights were good. Back in that era, they were great. There's the referee, the third man in the ring, Richard Steele, who later phased away because of being a controversial referee by the Nevada State Athletic Commission. That in time, April 6, 1987, Marvin Hagler and Sugar Ray Leonard. Boxing history, which we'll try and do here on the program every week. So much we covered this week on the program. Hope you enjoyed it. And, of course, the WrestleMania analysis. My thanks again to Jason Knight, the former ECW superstar down there in Philadelphia now. We'll take in all the events. And if you're down there or going down there, enjoy it, because there's a lot going on. And it all kicks off with the main show, Sunday night on Peacock, WrestleMania number 40. I expect titles to change hands down there. And we'll continue the countdown for April 20th, if it happens. Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, the mega fight of the year, Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York, on pay-per-view. In between, boxing will take a little hiatus from the major fights. Come back May 4th with Jaime Munguia, Canelo Alvarez for the 168-pound unified titles of Canelo Alvarez. That on Amazon Prime pay-per-view as well. And then you go through May, you have a little lapse with some more, but there are still boxing shows every weekend on the calendars. Just check them out. If they're not on the Zone, they're somewhere else. And the big ones are in June, including June 1st. We look forward to the unification light heavyweight title match, Arturo Beterbiev and Demetrio Belval. And that's going to be in Saudi Arabia, and it leads up to the middle of May when you have not Mike Tyson. Forget about Tyson and Paul in July on Netflix. I'm talking about Tyson Fury, the WBC champ, and Alexander Usyk, who has the rest of the titles, to unify the heavyweight division. That in Saudi Arabia on pay-per-view, Matchroom, and that's Matchroom Boxing, also part of it, and on the Zone pay-per-view. And that will hopefully unify the heavyweight division with a rematch clause in the contract. And I expect there'll be a rematch unless Tyson Fury says he loses and says that's it. And you know, in boxing history and of years of late, recently, fighters say they retire and they come back a year later. So we'll see where that goes. But an exciting time for the sport of boxing, also for the MMA, UFC, and of course for pro wrestling as we keep it in the ring here on the program each and every week. Live on YouTube on my channel, Rich Mancuso, and the AGT Network, and on Keep It in the Ring and on Facebook. So I encourage you to stay in touch on my social media, let you know when we're going to be on again next week. We might not do more than an hour all the time. Tonight was a dandy because we did about an hour and a half. Thanks to Jason Knight again. Thanks to Carl Roberts, my able producer who puts up with me on the AGT Network each and every week. And most of all, thanks to you, the great fans out there. Stay well. Be good to each other. God bless. See you again next week here with Keep It in the Ring. I'm Rich Mancuso. Take care.